Hi everyone, welcome to our first Entrepreneurship Podcast of the year. This is the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we have with us Mr. Nandakishore Harikumar, CEO and founder of a cybersecurity and big data startup. We are all excited to hear Mr. Nandakishore today because with Technisanct, he doesn't just work on the surface web, but also works on data from deep web and dark web. Yes, you heard me right. He's a serial entrepreneur with experience founding and working for multiple startups in his journey. Thank you, Mr. Nandakishore, for joining with us today. As I mentioned, we are all very excited to hear about your startup. Your website homepage actually quotes Frank Abagnale, whom Leonardo DiCaprio portrays in Spielberg's movie Catch Me If You Can. That's a daring statement, I would say, to quote a person like that. So yeah, if you could please start off with maybe an elevator pitch about your startup and go on to explain what is it that Technisant does for its global clientele.
Thank you, Akhil, and thank you, Aditya, for inviting me. First of all, as we know, we are in the month of cybersecurity awareness. I have to say that a lot of cyber attacks are too happening. So this is one we noticed a lot of cyber attacks are happening due to the recent Israel-Palestine conflict. So if you ask me why did I start a company or like what exactly Technisanct does, so cybersecurity, as we know, it was people believe that it's not for everyone and people believe that security is for a set of companies or like security is for some companies in the enterprise level. And when if you go and ask a kirana wale what do you do for your cybersecurity, they say that cybersecurity, like there is nothing that is secret here. Like everything is public. Like we just take money, we give money, and like let's say there is no impact on cybersecurity order. So this is the context where we thought like people will come to a point at some point of time that everyone would need the cybersecurity. And if you look into the maximum loss happens in the most unorganized area of industries like the SME and the small scale sector. So interestingly, the vision of Technisanct is purely democratizing cybersecurity, and to bring it to all, because we believe that gradually and maybe in 2 to 3 years, uh, everyone would have to come into a compliance process. Every nation will adopt some kind of a cybersecurity compliance. So to my team, I tell a small story which says that at this point of time, if you look into the cyber complaints that goes to police officials, that are from the poor and the needy one. It's never from the super rich because they are affected, they are impacted. But the biggest losers of cybercrime are the poor or the underprivileged in the society. So we should build products that can be used by anyone. It's not like I don't want to limit my products to be used by 500 Fortune companies, but I want it to be used by a smaller audience too. So from its initiation in 2018, it took a long way till 2022 to figure out what exactly a product would be or a product suite would be that could cater to the entire class of society. So we build out. We were building out multiple products. Like we were testing it out with different global clientele, and like we were testing out with a series of users from both India and abroad. But interestingly, we know that the cybersecurity product market is so big, as a nation. Like we initially thought, as a nation like India, will people value products from India? So that was the biggest concern. So when you say about cybersecurity, people say that okay, Israel products are the best one, or go to US, purchase this. So where does India as a cybersecurity market stand? So if you look into, because I've traveled to Israel multiple times, and if you look into the support the Indian government is giving the Indian startups, you cannot compare it with any other nation. You won't get this kind of support from any other country. So interestingly, when it comes to cybersecurity, we have organizations like C3I Hub. We have organizations like in the IIT of Kanpur. We have organizations like Data Security Council of India, back in NASCOM, and the Native Ministry, and different national agencies. So interestingly, there is no such kind of an ecosystem that exists other than maybe in US, other than in Singapore, and maybe in Israel. No other countries are coming out and giving this kind of support, from the money part to the strategical support part. So this is where I felt that it's the time that we should do a global product that could be bought by anyone beyond the boundaries. And that is where last year we experimented a product We started with a small Twitter handle called Falcon Feeds. Interestingly, like in 6 months, we gained around 20,000 followers, generating around 2 million impressions a month. So then we thought we will make it into a product. So then we got into the first of the product suite. So we Falcon Feed as itself is a product suite. The first product is a dark pump and deep pump monitoring solution. Interestingly, 2 months before we launched the paid version. Before in May, we launched the non-paid version, which onboarded around 4,000 to 5,000 customers. And now when we launch the paid version, we have around 70 to 80 paying customers, uh, including the big enterprise, including the 500 few from the 500 Fortune companies. Um, and there's cliently, I would say that it's expanded around 30 to 35 different countries. Even we have customers from Israel. When we say that, okay, Israel have all the cybersecurity products, so we have products from Israel, and we know that around 16 to 17 researchers are using our products to counter the latest cyber attacks that are happening in Israel. So that is something that inspired us a lot. That is inspiring us a lot. So we the next version of the product would have some kind of an audit security audit automation tool. So it comes in the same platform like small products that could help you to build a proper security around your company. So this is what we want to build out. So I mean, interestingly, when you ask me about the entrepreneurship journey, so I believe that every entrepreneur take their own time to really identify the purpose of their entrepreneurship. So I took around 3 years to do that.
Wow. Wow. Very interesting. Uh, this was very interesting insight about your startup and entrepreneurship journey. With this, actually, we wanted to know, like, how did you started and what was the motivation to for you to start, and what challenges did you face during your journey? And if you can tell some interesting story that came along while this journey, that would be very nice.
Yeah, you want to know the good story or the bad stories?
I guess both of them will work.
Yeah, so because see, whenever I speak about entrepreneurship, I tell everyone that you should more listen to the bad stories because whatever picture you see outside is not the correct fact. So interestingly, like let's say my entrepreneurship journey starts somewhere my college days, where I used to sit and design some websites, give it to some small firms in India or in Bangalore using some tools. So interestingly, that's I mean I used to make 5,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees my college expense. So that's where I just stepped into. I mean, I met a friend of mine, a senior of mine in college. So he had the same entrepreneurial vision. I joined with him. My first entrepreneurship job was to market his products. Like I used to go walk around the small city of Cochin, meet like let's say the small scale entrepreneurs, try to sell some of his products. Interestingly, the first salary what I got from that was somewhere around 8,000 to 9,000 rupees. So interestingly, one thing that struck me, like I worked there for like 2 years. So then I struck that most of his business was running through me. So I thought or like assumed that it's very easy that I could start a business. And like that is the biggest thought. Like when you work with someone, you feel that you're good at sales. You feel that okay, I can jump and start a business. So I also did that. I just jumped into another ship. I just thought I will start a business. Then I spoke to a few of my friends. The first tool what we were, trying to sell was a social media listening tool. So this is what we tried to make. Interestingly, like let's say we even went to some foreign countries because social media listening was never a business at that point of time. Now we have huge brands, but at that point of time, no one even thought about a social media listening tool. So interesting was that like then only we came to understand that there are huge regulations. You cannot just track social media platforms like that. You need the platform's permission to do this. So the entire business got collapsed. So interestingly, the biggest learning in the journey is that so when you do a business, you have to go by the rule of a book. You cannot just sit on the road and sell the things what you want to do. That is the biggest learning what I had. So interestingly, I would say like me and one of my friend, we were in the Ministry of Defense in Bahrain in 2013. We were trying to sell the social media listening tool. There were some civil wars that were happening in that time due to the Arab Spring. So interestingly, the minister himself asked this question: so, do you have a license to crawl data from Facebook as a platform? So we were a bit stuck, and we never knew what exactly this license was. We never even knew that you need to have a license. So interestingly, what happened was that then we went and researched, and we identified that like few months before, in 2013, maybe in 2012, a researcher was fined by the US court for crawling data from Facebook. So similarly, that was a huge learning. So assume that we were trying to sell this product to multiple corporates, and if corporates used to onboard due to the quality of the product, and finally you come to a situation where you are sued by both parties for breaching a contract. So these are some kind of an experience that you learn on the way. You also don't know, like you'll be 23 or 24 when you step into your first entrepreneurial journey. And the other biggest hurdle was that at that point of time, there was no Startup India, there were no this kind of incubators. And there was one incubator in Kerala, but it was purely focused on the electronic side, not on the IT side, pure for electronic products. So interestingly, we never knew like how to even approach, whom to even approach, what was a pitch deck. So now I feel like most of the kids are very lucky, like they get trained, they get handhold. Uh, so I'm in the panel of Kerala State Startup Mission, where we go through kids from the college, and we identify their potential and give them funding. So startups get 6 to 7 lakhs in their college time. So this is not something that is not accessible for us. Like at that point of time, we got into entrepreneurship at that point of time when Paytm or Byju's or Oda or Zomato was not there, or like they never had this kind of a clout or funding or this kind of terms called valuation or term sheet. So interestingly, all those things that we had to learn um, of our own. Maybe one of the sore side of an experience, we went and met an investor uh, who invest in huge organizations, and most of the startups were successful. This was in 2014. So interestingly, the first question was again related to the market competition. So at that point of time, we never knew that there is something called market competition exists. He came up with 100 different products, which does the same job. So that was like a very small experience where you just go and meet an investor after getting like a reference from very senior people, and you get stuff because you don't have like you have no knowledge about market standards or like market competition, or who are your major competitors sitting in US and selling this business. So these kind of experiences were there. I would say that every day it was there. I would say that from the full-fledged entrepreneurship experience, even today we will have this kind of experience. So we keep on identifying that, like we keep on modulating based on that. So, but the other thing on the other side, the confidence level will be comparatively higher. And I would say in entrepreneurship, the first breaking point is the first failure. So in my talks, I say that the fast you achieve your failures, the fast you can be successful. So this is my theory now. Like you need to know failures, because unless you're just going like a very tall or like a very steep mountain, and the moment you fall from the tallest mountain, the hit will be so hard. So it's better to feel when you are on the small hill.
It was very inspiring to hear. Um, you are an IT professional, right? You come from an IT background. So, building a business in dark web monitoring, that must have been a very interesting thing for you. Can you give us a brief about, general about dark web monitoring to us general public? Like, why is it actually important and how it will help organizations?
So interestingly, dark web is the space that is not known to the public web. It's like a hidden web. What do you say that all the illegal activities happen? So in 2015, when I was doing a research, I came across a digital footprint about an individual. Leaking his debit card data uh, on this dark web platform. So let's see, credit card data are always available in this kind of areas, but the biggest thing that struck me was he was from a town that was just 10 kilometers from where I was born. So I never knew that the cybercrime was on our door. So when you used to tell my father long back, like to safeguard his credit card, he used to tell me, I have nothing. I have no amount of money in my credit card or debit card. So how should I safeguard my PIN number? So this was the thought about people. So that is where I understood that even the small vendor outside your home, the moment you have a digital instrument, there is a high probability of a cyber criminal taking over its data. And most of this data, like, I mean, we say that I mean, we may not have $1 million in our account, but even if it's like 10,000 rupees, that's very valuable for us. So that is where I understood that I had to build a business on digital footprinting. So these kind of data is something that exists in dark web. There are a lot of data. There are data related to drugs. There are data related to weapons. There are data related to child sex trafficking. So there are a lot of gray area. So we focus on the very specific area of counterfeits or like digital frauds, stolen information, digital footprint. So this is something that we are very very keen on. So that's where we thought of building a business, and it's very hard to build a business on these kind of things. Interestingly, it's always considered as a monopoly for the US companies. Even now, when we go to investors, they feel that like, this is a monopoly for the US companies. No, but we are doing better job than many of the US companies are doing, and because that is why the reason that 60% of our customers are from US. So this is a huge and vast area. Even people claim that we know around 80% of the dark web. No, I won't say that. We also don't know what exactly dark web is, how deeper these platforms. So that is where I thought I should build a business. And public exposures are something that are always used. So whenever we discuss about a data breach, in many cases, this data breach happens due to the stolen passwords. And stolen passwords or like these kind of things are obtained from dark web kind of a space. So that is the need of a company to monitor these kind of spaces and identify whether their footprints or their stolen data is physically or digitally available in these platforms. So that is the one reason why we ventured into that kind of a space.
Okay, cool. Since we are talking about dark web, I wanted to know if there are some something that is most interesting and some unusual thing that happen in dark web that you want to share with us.
Yeah, so interesting thing. We monitor a lot of hackers chat, hacker groups that resides in these kind of spaces. So when the Chinese apps were banned, so we identified that the Chinese hackers group or like the Chinese hacking platforms or like their internal chat groups were discussing a lot about Indian brands due to the security constraint. I don't want to name the Indian brands, and few of those brands we were working actively with, and we informed them. And like 3 days later to this incident, we saw a lot of Chinese botnet attack coming on, DDoS attacks coming on this platform. So interestingly, this is something that story like this is. I don't believe this is a too technical job. This is more of a strategic job, like the intelligence guys does. Like you have to sit inside, watch their murmur, sit like their own person. Maybe you have to trigger few of their conversations, and maybe you have to use a bit of your bilingual expertise. So this is what we are trying in our threat analyst also. We are trying to build a bilingual expertise using different applications, building out like let's say chats as if you are a Chinese or a Russian, and then chat across them. Interestingly, like since the chat GPT has come in, it's more easy for us. Earlier it was very hard to rely on the Google Translate part. So now it's more easy for us. So these are the kind of areas we want to go deeper into this because bilingualism and interestingly, regional hacking groups and chat groups are very popular. If you look into, there are Hindi-based speakers, hackers, or Hindi-speaking hackers. So there are hackers group from Kerala. So gradually this is going to increase. In next 10 years, you would see every state will have different kinds of hacking groups with different political ideologies, different, and this war is becoming, in the cyberspace, the war which we are fighting with nuclear weapons or like this kind of missiles, it's getting into the cyberspace, and I believe in next 10 years, that will be the major war. It's the best way to disrupt a service. It's the best way to disrupt someone's facility, and of course, that is going go so global. So that is one space what we are actively focusing on.
Yeah, that's true actually. Even the common person today will have to be very aware about the different digital threats and technology. As much as he's aware about the technology growth, he should be aware about the threats and things like that. So, what such advices would you give for our general public in this cyber security month to stay safe in the rapidly digitizing world?
See, it's very personal. I won't believe any tool or any government policies can just save you. As individuals, humans are very vulnerable. We believe that few of those that psychological groups are always being tortured by the hacking groups. I mean, money that you can relate to the loan apps. So your need for the money, your need for this kind of immediate cash will attract you to some kind of a cyber gang which operates on this kind of events like loan apps and this kind of thing. On the other side, like let's say lust kind of things will attract you to the vulnerable dating apps, sharing your explicit pic with someone. So eventually, from our research since last many years, we have identified that so humans tend to fall into these things. I always say that never click on any link what you see, never chat with like people you see on, people you don't know in internet platform, or try to not disclose your personal details like your phone number or value details or even your house address. If someone says you that I'm going to send you a gift, just don't believe them that no one is going to the internet and give you a gift. So every issue and incident is team based. For example, like we did a big research during the FIFA World Cup that happened in Qatar. So we identified that around 500 to 600 groups were there trying to fake selling tickets. Just during that time, I remember there was a earthquake that happened in Turkey and Syria or somewhere. So gradually, these guys tend to create fake links of donations. So now there are donation links that and apps that are coming up for sending donations to Palestine and Gaza. So similarly, every time the environmental situation is tortured, so we have to be very aware. People have a tendency to believe that whatever you see in the internet is true and genuine, and whatever you read in the internet is true and it's the fact. So I would say that no, it's not the fact. So many of 90% of the data what you see may not be authentic. It can be fake. I just joke in front of our friend circle like many of your parents are the biggest promoters of fake news. So they keep on sharing this kind of information through WhatsApp. So every time I have to call my father or my father-in-law and tell that okay, delete this news or delete this specifically. It's not true. And I mean, it's in a different space like the information warfare in the in speak where people keep on tend to spread fake information about individuals, fake information about society, fake information on like religion, and even fake information about business. So in this, we have to be really aware. We have to observe, ensure that you keep on having a very sanitized practice in using internet. Don't click in every link. Don't download any app. Don't, I mean, regularly change your password. If possible, activate multi-factor authentication. Don't give your PIN number to a third party or any of these kind of OTP to third parties. No bank will call you and ask these kind of OTPs. And finally, ensure that you regularly update your operating systems and never use passwords like password, admin123, Apple, ABCD, QWERTY. So don't use this kind of passwords or your name with date of birth. So these are the basic things you have to practice.
Thank you, Nanda. So this was basically how we covered cybersecurity awareness month, kind of. So one more question that I want to ask is about, as you are an entrepreneur and you have a tech background, so that might have helped you in building the product. But while you were building a business, it was not only about building a product, but it was much more than that, like building a team, like getting sales, like getting investments. So we wanted to know, how did you navigate these the business part of it, and what was the learning that you gained from it, and how could it help a B school student as well?
So if you look into the most of the successful business in the world, starting from the 500 Fortune companies, all of them, it was a teamwork. It's very rare that I've seen an individual doing everything and coming out successful. So what I tried in my past businesses and I literally failed was doing everything myself. So you cannot do everything. You cannot do everything in an organization. You cannot be a people management expert and you cannot be a product management expert. It's very rare that some people will come and become everything. But one thing what we try to do, we try to put correct people in correct places. I was very poor in people management, so I bought someone to do people management in my office. I'm less patient. I'm more of a spontaneous person. So I may not be able to, because at the end of the day, the basic of business is finance. You need to know your cash flows. You need to know in and out your balance sheet. You need to know your profit and loss account. So this is something very very alien to many of the new generation business people. So they say that, okay, we build a business on valuation, our product is so big. So at the end of the day, when a recession hits your market, nothing of this matters. You need to have very strong balance sheets. You need to have very strong business which earns you and get out money, get and take out money. So what I did was that I identified people who can do this for me. So I don't have the patience to do this. So we wanted to become profitable, and after the second year, third year, we became profitable. So since last 3 years, we became a profitable business. So that is something that we are really proud and speaking to the investors all about. See, and the people's connect in the sense that either you have to deal the upper part, dealing with your investor, dealing with the top level of the organization, or you have to do the down part, dealing with your day-to-day activities. So I believe as an entrepreneur, it's your choice which side you have to take. So I love to take the upper side. I like to meet new customers, build out a relationship. I like to meet more new investors, trying them, convincing them to put more money. So this is what I've been regularly doing. On the other side, the interesting fact is that you need to build team. You need to have structuredized team, whether it's a 10-member team or whether it's a 50-member team or it's a 100-member team. You need to have people and you have to delegate. So in many cases, we never delegate. We believe that we are the best in everything. Or I know everything because that is the only reason why the client signed up. So if I can sign up with a 500-person company, then why can't I manage the day-to-day affairs? No, you cannot do that. So day-to-day office management, going to day-to-day office, it's a totally different so I believe that entrepreneurs should not sit in office. They have to travel. They have to meet new people. They have to bring more bigger revenue to the organization. So if you are an entrepreneur sitting inside the office, looking what exactly your developer is doing, looking what exactly your accounts are managing, I think that's a waste of time. Never do that. But there are good people who are very good at managing these skills, but ensure that you have someone who can hold on to your back. So this is something that we have been highly practicing on, like never step into others' area unless you see a red flag. Like there are areas where you will find a red flag, right? Like this team is not performing well. Unless you don't step in. So we have that kind of a work atmosphere. So we have a freedom to work. We purely work on task-based system. We never keep a 9 to 10 kind of a 9 to 5 kind of a system where everyone has to come at 9 o'clock, sign in the book. No, we don't do that. So we give them tasks, we assign them tasks, we work on sprints, and that is successful till now. Then the one thing what I wanted to tell everyone, so now that is some latest learning what we had. So one founder in an organization should be always responsible about bringing in funds. Someone has to take up that responsibility. So the person who takes that responsibility will have the more control in the organization because that is a more important part. So interestingly, someone should do that. So you cannot put a blame saying that I am not good at this, so I don't want to do that, and someone else should do it. As an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to ensure that you have enough funds to run your business, you have enough runway. So these are the different learning curves we had. And as I mentioned, every day is a new learning for us. And the next day we try to incorporate that. But the one thing that drives you, one thing that makes you more passionate is your vision. The vision to build the best of its kind of products, the best of its kind of company, and the best of its kind of resources, and take them to the global platform. So maybe the last thing I want to tell you guys, my philosophy of a business is non-geographical, non-lingual. It has to go out of your geography, it has to go out of your language, and it has to spread like that. So I'm happy at this moment of time when people from US, people from Brazil, people from Europe, come to our platform, buy it, ask for partnerships. Interestingly, our marketing team and sales team is very less. Just by using content marketing, we are able to reach out to these big brands. So recently, like we had one of the big four coming into, started using our ThreatFeed API to enrich their security solution. So interestingly, these are the things what we learned through this entire business curves in last 3-4 years.
Thank you, Nanda. We are, I think coming close to our time. So finishing off, like any, a lot of business students and budding entrepreneurs would be watching this podcast. Any, closing advices, statements that you want to give for from your, entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so I would say that never kill your passion. Even if you may not be able to start an entrepreneurship at this point of time, you may have your like different things pulling you back because you may not have the capital to start it. But never pull your passion back because at some point of time you'll reach the point that you have to follow your passion. So entrepreneurship is one of such kind of a biggest passion, like you see in the art field or say in the sports field. So never allow your passion to die. Every day, like even if you are unable to start your entrepreneurship, just know that in next 2 years or 3 years you will be able to start it. That is something that you have to keep in your mind always. So that never dies. Passion towards entrepreneurship never dies. And even if you fail multiple times, know that you never. I mean, you are still existing with that passion. You have to restart it.
Mm.
And definitely you would have been, from you started off from a young age, but you would have had to manage family and things like that. How did you do that? That is like a big challenge for any entrepreneur who starts off today.
So one thing, what of course, you need a support from the family, and in many cases, you need to run. Like you cannot see, like you feel just emotionally carried away with many of these things. You cannot survive that. Like you will get deeper into this. And see what I did. Maybe 2016 was something where I had a huge learning curve. So I knew that I had a huge wealth in my hand. Wealth in the sense that the cybersecurity knowledge is so huge. So even though I had a parallel business working with corporate existed, I ensured that I had a consulting vertical. I used to consult. I still consult with government of India, different governments, different agencies. I work with a lot of advocates. India's biggest cyber advocates are our customers, our clients. So I started making revenue on the other side. So even if the business goes down, I want to be so sure that I have enough money to get my things done. In many cases, what people does, they spend their entire money on entrepreneurship. Don't do that. So
Okay.
you should have the judgment of saying that like the business is going to fall. Then it's better not to invest. Let my money reside in my account. You know that this business may go down. Then you just keep quiet. So 2016-17, I just took this kind of decision. Even if the business is going down, let it go down. We can lift it back. Ensure that you have clients who can support you. So the biggest learning. So we had a customer during the COVID period, and COVID period, as you know, like the payments were all delayed. This was happening. So one customer called us, and asked, if you want like a 1 year's retainer fee in advance, we are happy to give it.
Nice.
So we asked them, can you give 2 year retainer fee? So we just took that money, 2 year retainer fee in our account, and the second month of COVID. So when someone was struggling with COVID, we had money. So this is how like you need to closely work with customers, treat customer as a king. I think everything will happen. Till
Mm.
2016, I was very bad. I thought service what we are giving is so some precious. It's so big, so like no one else can give this. No, like even if you have to follow the customer's feed, just follow, give the best service, and take money. So family is an important part. I luckily had my partner, like my wife, supporting me in all these times. But you should try to be very open and communicate this. This is my passion. I want to follow this passion. I will ensure that nothing falls apart, and you have to be very careful. Like when making an entrepreneurship. So now people come to me, and say that, okay, you have 1 crore rupees. Can I invest in your company? I say no. This is your only saving. I don't want to take your money. And even, like any business can fall. Now we are hearing like all the big businesses with huge valuation and huge revenue and huge funding are falling down. Even Vedanta, the biggest copper manufacturing companies, had a very bad fall now. So Adani's had a very bad hit. So every business will hit. So it's up to you to have that judgment.
Thank you, Nanda. I guess these insights were really helpful for people like me, Akil, and anybody else who would be listening this podcast. And with this, you had shared a lot of insights that were very helpful for business school student and even for normal public. Like the month is going on for cybersecurity awareness, you said we should be aware. So these all things would be very helpful for anybody who watches this. And we from IIM Lucknow would like to thank you for taking out your time and spending this time with us and sharing your insights about business.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.